Hey everybody, welcome to my channel and the very first video in what I hope to be a complete series of videos about RV transport. Today I'm going to talk about how and why I decided to try this out and then discuss the items that I bought and you'll need if you're thinking about getting into the RV transport business yourself. So recently I got some news at work that could put my family in a really difficult spot financially. And so after lots of researching, watching videos, and then just, talking to people doing RV transport already, I felt like I saw a real opportunity. I've already got a lot of the items needed to start in RV transport, and I feel like it's going to give me the flexibility and the independence that I really need and am looking for. Plus, it's not as competitive when you compare it to, say, getting started with a CDL and trying to run your own hot shop business. I found that the application process to become an RV transporter was pretty straightforward, with most companies just requiring a few basic items to get started. These are going to include a valid driver's license. Again, remember, CDL is not required to do this job, just getting started. A clean driver's record, a 3/4 ton or larger truck, and of course, you're going to need some proof of insurance on that truck as well. Finding and filling out the application on Horizon Transport's website was really a pretty easy process. And once that's done, you're going to start thinking about some of the things you're going to need before hauling your first load. Those things could vary between carriers, but I'm going to go through everything that I needed here in just a moment. But before I do, if you're interested in applying to Horizon Transport, please message me and I'd be happy to walk you through that process. And in full disclosure, Horizon offers referral rewards to drivers who help promote and onboard others. This comes at no expense to you, but would certainly help me out since I'm just getting started myself. Now, once you're approved, your truck's going to need to pass a DOT safety inspection. This is going to be required and it's going to ensure that your truck meets all the necessary towing safety standards. And it's definitely something you're going to want to be aware of since it could add additional costs of getting started outside the other items you're going to need if your truck needs any kind of maintenance or repair. Now, that DOT safety inspection, it's really just that. It's a basic safety check of your truck. They're going to look in, out, underneath the vehicle, make sure it meets the requirements. And, it's pretty straightforward, like I said. There is one thing that I didn't realize based on my own research, and that's if you've got window tint, like I do, you may have to remove it because they do require at least 70% light transparency. And those DOT safety officers do carry that little deal that will check that. So make sure if you do have tint, whether it's 70% transparent or not. The likelihood is if you got your windows tinted, you got them to block some of the sun out. And so it's probably going to not let 70% through. All right, so let's talk about the equipment you're going to need before you're hitting the road. At a minimum, you're going to need the following items, though hopefully you've already got some of this stuff on hand already. First, I'm going to cover a fifth wheel hitch. Now, fifth wheel hitch is not a requirement, although pretty much everybody, from my understanding, is going to have one. So if you want to make sure you can get loads, you're probably going to want to make sure you've got a fifth wheel hitch. It needs to be rated for 20K or better, and if you've got a short bed, it needs to be a slider. The second item would be a gooseneck hitch, although I don't think that's going to be very common that you're going to run into a load that needs a goose ball, but good idea to have one on hand just in case. You will absolutely have to have a weight distribution hitch, and it needs to be rated for at least 10,000 pounds. And they're going to tell you that you need both 2-inch balls and 2 5/16-inch balls. Next, your truck is going to need to be equipped with, some sort of a tow package, minimum a trailer brake controller. A lot of those campers are going to have electric brakes for sure if you're pulling something as big as a fifth wheel. It can either be an integrated or an external one. Some other good ideas like load helper springs, airbags, stuff like that. Not required, but depending on the truck you've got, might be a good idea. You will need to have at least a forward-facing dash cam. The one that I bought goes forward and backwards. I do think that you could probably use a dash cam app on your phone, but that would keep your phone tied up from other things. So probably a dash cam online would be your best bet to go there. Now, Horizon also says that you're going to need a printer. That printer is just so if you get pulled over for a roadside safety inspection and the safety officer asks you to print your logs, you can print those logs. I found a little mobile printer. It takes thermal paper, so it's inkless, pretty cheap on Amazon. That'll serve that purpose. For printing your paperwork for your loads, you'll be able to print everything right at a kiosk there at the yards, although a desktop printer, it probably honestly wouldn't be a bad idea if you have room for it. That way you can print stuff from your email if you need to, just to make things a little easier for you. You'll need to update your truck's registration to 26,000 pounds and be prepared when you go into the DMV for them telling you, well, you don't need a 26,000 pound registration and this and that. It is going to be a requirement of your driver's contract with Horizon. So just let them know that when you go in. I showed my attendant the email, and they're like, okay, I got it. No problem. You'll need to make sure you've got a copy of your completed DOT safety inspection form with you all the time. So, keep that in mind as well. You'll also need to have $1 million in unladen liability insurance. Good news is that when you drive for like Horizon or Wave or any of those, they'll offer that to you, and it'll come at kind of a group discount. I think it's about $150 a month through Horizon. And then you're going to need to have a scale ticket. So I just got on Google, looked up, cat scales closest to me, went in, paid $10, got my scale ticket. You're also then going to need to have a battery. A marine battery is probably preferable with the terminals on there, and it needs to be in a marine box. This is so you can get power to the camper for the breakaway brakes, and or some of the trailers, my understanding is, will have electric tongues on them. You're going to need to have a full width rear mud flap on your truck, so it needs to cover from the outside of the wheel on the driver's side to the outside of the wheel on the passenger side to prevent stone chips, road debris flying up, hitting the front of the trailer. That'd be a big issue for you. You'll need to have a torque wrench that's rated up to 150 pounds. I think you'd probably be surprised, when you do your walk around inspection of the camper or whatnot, that a couple lugs here or there might be a little bit loose. You'll also need to have a toll transponder. I've got an Easy Pass, but I believe that those can be purchased either, in stores, in some locations, truck stops, or you can just get one online. That's how I got mine. I got an Easy Pass. It works great. You're going to need some miscellaneous securement items. I mean, like bungees, some 1-inch ratchet straps, tarps, things like that. Be a good idea. Locking pins for the hitch and the trailer. That way somebody can't just come and unload or unhook your hitch or the camper from your hitch. You will need to have a mounted fire extinguisher. That'll be part of your DOT safety inspection. I drive a new truck, so I didn't want to drill into my truck at all. I actually ended up finding a mount on Amazon that just bolts right to your seat frame, and you can secure your fire extinguisher there. You'll need to have also emergency triangles. You have to have 3 of those, a basic medical kit, extra fuses for your truck, and then a 6-foot trailer safety chain with hooks on both ends. Now, I believe that most of the trailers are going to come with, safety hooks on it. But if you're towing a fifth wheel or something like that, potentially it might not have them. So that'd be a good idea to have as well. If you're planning on traveling west, like through the mountains and stuff, you're going to need to have tire chains. That's going to be a DOT requirement. And then I mentioned the breakaway cable. You'll need to have your own carabiner clip for that. And then just some miscellaneous hand tools, basic breakdown, tire changes, pliers, stuff like that is probably a really good idea to keep on hand. Now, in addition to those items that you have to have, there's a few extra things that I added to my truck to make the road experience a little more comfortable. Even though they're not strictly required, I decided to include them just based on my research from watching other YouTube channels. And those items are going to include a 2250 watt inverter generator that I'm going to have chained into my bed so it don't get stolen. 5-gallon jerry can for gas for the generator. A 25-foot extension cord, again, for the generator, and then 120 volt, 1500 watt ceramic heater That way, if I'm in cold weather area, I can run the generator and then use the extension cord to power the ceramic heater inside the truck without having to run the truck. I also purchased 3 15-gallon storage containers just to protect my gear and stuff that's going to be in the back of the bed. You know, things like bibs, boots, coat, hat, gloves. You know, I want to make sure that, you know, if I do have to change a tire, it's cold out, I have to walk, you know, that, you know, I'm going to be prepared to do that. You'll also need some kind of a phone mount. And if you have a tablet, you'll need a tablet mount. I like to use the RAM mount stuff. It's really good quality. It's a little spendy, but really, really good stuff. And as a matter of fact, you get pulled over for roadside inspection and a safety officer sees your phone just sitting in a cup holder, might give you some grief about it. So make sure you've got a phone mount. And then I mentioned a tablet. Tablet's a great idea. You can put all of your driver apps, do your electronic logs, all of that stuff on a tablet as long as you get one that's cell service enabled. Some of the apps that you're going to need won't go onto the tablet if it doesn't have self-service ability. So keep that in mind. I'll try to include links to everything that I purchased and I just described at the in the description of the video for you, just to make it a little bit easier to, you know, if you just want to click and buy that stuff, yep, sure, you can go right ahead, or at least to give you an idea of what you're going to need. My initial investment for everything was about $1,500, keeping in mind, of course, that I already had the truck, hitches, generator, and then a few other miscellaneous items that I had noted. But if you don't already have the gear you're going to need, I'd estimate you probably plan on spending somewhere around $5,000 to get everything, of course, not including the truck. I would definitely recommend, if you don't already have like the hitches, for example, that you check out Facebook Marketplace, because I bought a like new $600 weight distribution hitch for just 85 bucks. So there are some really great deals out there if you're just willing to put in the time and, you know, search and, you know, keep your eyes peeled. Well, that's going to be a basic rundown of what it takes to get started in RV transport. In my next video, I'll cover route planning, managing costs, and then discuss more about what I plan to keep in my truck to ensure that my trips are more enjoyable. Things like bedding, food, and some other essentials. Please be sure to check out my Facebook page for additional links, photos, and resources to help you on your own journey. You'll find the link for that page in the description. If you find this information useful and you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to switch on those notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks, y'all.